Okay, so this is the 2011 question 5 transformation geometry. So I'm going to start with part A, draw the given figure. Alright, so it's not a walk in the park, this setup. Alright, but there's one big square 60 by 60 and then it's divided into four smaller squares. Now this line is a diagonal, so where the diagonals cross we can get that line, or that point there. Okay, so I'm going to focus on just the top right first. So I'm going to draw in the diagonal of the square. So it's like an X. Now, where that hits, or where the X crosses, we're going to draw a line across there. And this is this point here. So now I can heavy in that line there. Okay, and I can heavy that in. So the top right done. Now I'll do the bottom right. So it's across again, and this time there's a little small square in there. So there we have a little small square in. Now there's a heavy line joining the diagonal of this little small square here. So there we go. Now this line joins to that point there. There we go. So I have the right hand side done. Now I'm ready to do the left hand side. Okay, so that's basically a mirror image of the right here. So I can just draw a 45-degree line in here, so I can. Right, now this line here is a 45-degree line. So there I can heavy it in. Alright, now the next question is getting these two here. So I'm going to start off with a light line coming down. So rapid speed. Okay, so that was a light line coming down, and now a light line coming up there at 45 degrees, and now I can heavy these in. Okay, now I'll zoom out there. Right, so we're ready to do the translation. So axial symmetry from P to P1. Alright, now the key with this is that the shape maintains its original properties all the way along. So I'm going to just label these corners. 1, 2, 3. Okay, or I'll switch them to A, B, C. It's just going to be simpler for me as I go along. Right, now we need the axis of symmetry, so we're going to join P to P1. We're going to take our compass, bisect the line, so compass set to the length of P1, or P to P1, so bisect the line, and this is our axis of symmetry. So all the points move perpendicular to this axis. Okay, so basically if I wanted to get B, I would line my set square up with the axis of symmetry. Okay, draw a line perpendicular to the axis. Now B, the new B is going to lie on this line here. So I put my compass on the axis and bring B over. So this would be B1. Now, as I say in all the videos, it's very important that the shape maintains its original properties. So B is going to lie on this line here, but P1 to B1 has got to be 60 millimeters. So I'm just going to check if that's 60 millimeters. Okay, and it is, but what if it wasn't? Alright, you would ignore that point that you've marked in, you'd set your compass to 60, the distance of P to B, and you'd put your compass on P1 and swing an arc until they intersect the line. So P1 to B1 is here, so I can draw them lightly. Now I'm just going to do one more point under axial symmetry to give me an idea of where it is. So I'll do A here. So A1 is going to lie on this line. But remember, the shape maintains its original properties. So it's going to be a square. So a square is 4 right angles. So I'm going to line my set square up with P1 to B1. I'm going to draw in my 2 lines here at 90 degrees to P1 to B1. Now remember, it's got to be 60 millimeters long. So I'm going to mark 60 along this square. Now, if that works out perfectly for me, but if your 60 was a little bit past it, okay, use your 60 millimeter mark. Remember, it's a square. The new square has to be 60 by 60. There's no way around it. Right, so this would be A1, this would be C1. Alright, now remember, so we're going to split the sides up in half. So I'm going to pause as I make the cross. Now to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to call this E, F, G and H to make this life a little bit simpler. So here's H1, it's in between P and B. Here's E1 in between A and B. Here's G1 in between A and C, and here's E. Now we're going to start with the little quadrant. So we have to do this diagram up here where E to H is. So we can join our corners here, E to H. Okay, we can join the corner here, the center to, oh sorry, what's that letter say? E, right. 1 second there, I labeled these wrong. So that's F. Okay, well I didn't, I just have bad writing. So I was doing E1 to H. So E1 to H, right? Then B1 to the center. So there's the center point there. So we have to draw a line, okay, that hits the crossover and touches there. And now that joins to H. So I'm going to join that to H1. And then I can heavy that into E. Right, I'm going to deal with this small one here. So F1 to H and P1 to the center. Okay, now, right, so I can draw in my little square here. It goes to the middle. And then we're going to go onwards. So there we go, right? So H1 joins to the little middle there. So H1 is joined to here, and then it joins to the middle on the center line. So it joins to there. Now we can go over and get this line here. So we can. So it's the same concept. So it's 45 degrees to the line up here. which is essentially going to be 15. I think it's easier if I just teach you the fact it's just 15 in between them. That's far easier to teach you that. So there's that point there. So I'll give that a label FH, which one are we on? I1, J, this is J1 here. Right, so J, we need to find G. So G is here, it joins to E1, so I can go out lightly there. The point from J is it's parallel to this line, so it's at 45 degrees. So there we go. That's that point there from J. Let's go and pass G there, so we can heavy that in one go, and then we can do a heavy line from G1 going inwards to F1. And then we can do the heavy line here. Right, so we've that one done. Right, now central symmetry to P1 to P2, and remember the shape maintains its original properties. Just to note, these little points in the middle are 15 in, I think, and that's 15 up if they're 45 degree lines. I think that makes life an awful lot easier for you. So central symmetry, so we're going to take our compass, put it on P to P1, bisect the line, so there we go. Now we only need to find the key number of points, so I'm going to get B. Oh, sorry, I drew through the wrong point there. You join B through the center point of symmetry. You put your compass on B1, or the center point of symmetry, I'll mark it in. Bring the nib to B1 and mark it up here. Now this should be where B2 is. But remember, the distance between P2 and B2 has to be 60 millimeters. Okay, which in my case it is. If it's not, set your compass to 60, swing it from P2, and where it intersects that line is your position for P2. Okay, now I'm going to get one more point, so I'm going to get point A2. So I'm going to draw, or it's going to give me an approximation where it is. So A2 is going to have to be on this line here. So I'm going to draw a line at 90 degrees to P2 to B2. So A2 should be on this line here, but it may not necessarily be on it. Okay, now which mine is well off, so but it has to be 60 long. So that's my A2 there, and then 60 degree or line here perpendicular. Line here perpendicular, and now we can start splitting this up. So we can. So we're going to mark in halfway. Now I'm going to label the points. Okay, so I've labeled the points right now. These marks, they're all in 15 millimeters. The little points in here, they're the midpoints to each of the little 4 squares. Now, so we're going to join them together. So if 2 points join in one view, they join in every view. So you can see this one here, E2 downwards. And then it joins to H2, So like in the original diagram. Now H2 joins to I2. So I2 joins to this midpoint here between F2 and the center point. So I2 joins to here. So this point joins to J2. And then F joins to what you call it, G2. F2 joins to G2. So it's heavy there, hidden. And then for J2 we can draw light line first, and then we can go down and extend E2 to F2. That's it. And then we can heavy that in. So you don't need to go with those constructions that we done earlier. So, okay, that's done now. If you know it once, you know it every time. You can just realize that the big square 60 by 60 is divided into 4 smaller squares 30 by 30, and these little points here, okay, all scattered around, are 15 in along the small squares. They're the midpoints of the small squares. Now, right, translation from P2 to P3. So we're going to join P2 to P3, and this whole image is going to slide up that way. So all the points move parallel to P2 to P3. But remember, all we need to do is translate the specific number of points. So I'm going to just move C here. So I moved it parallel to the line P2 to P3. I take my compass, I set my compass there on P2, I bring the nib to P3, I lift, I mark it from C2, 2, and this should be C3, but remember, C3 to P3 has to be 60 millimeters, which it is there. So that's C3. Now, I can draw in the square. So the lines of the square are perpendicular to C3, P3. Oh, Jesus, this bloody desk is in the way. So there's one line. Now it's got to be a 60 long on it. So there's the point. Oh, sorry. So there's the 4 points of the square. Right, so that's A3, alright, and that's B3. If you're unsure, just draw your lines parallel to P2 to P3 from the corners of the square, and take your compass and transfer the distance of P2 to P3. It gives you an idea. Now I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to divide this into 4 and get the midpoints of each smaller square and label them in. So I'm going to mark these in. So this is E3. So I can join E3 to here. I can join this point to H3. I can join H3 to I3. I can join I3 to the midpoint here. I can join right there. I can join F3 to G3, slight for a portion of it, heavy for another portion. So I can join this point to G3, T3, and then lightly there. And then I can go parallel to that line F3 to G3. There we go. So I didn't do that perfect now, so I didn't. So I'll rub that out and fix it. And then you just slide on your set square for the next heavy bit. So there we go, that's that part done. Now, P3 to P4's rotation clockwise 90 degrees. So P3 is going to P4 this way, clockwise. So that must mean the center point is on the opposite side to your, that you're moving. So if I'm moving this way, the center point is there on the left. Now, we're going to join P3 to P4, and we need to find the center point of rotation. It says it's an angle of 90 degrees, so there is a triangle inside the rotation, okay, and it's a an isosceles triangle. So if that's 90 degrees there, okay, I know it doesn't look like 90 degrees here. It's in the other two angles are 180 minus 90 divided by 2, so it'd be 45 and 45. So I can take my set square, line it up there with P3 and P4. So I can draw in 45 degree line here from there. Oh, nasty fecker. So I can slide on the line there. Sorry, they kept moving there on me. So there's the center point of rotation. Now, as we know, I only need to do a set number of points. Now I'm going to do this in green pen to make this easier to see. So I'll do C3. So I'm going to join C3 to the center point of rotation. And I'm going to measure an angle of 90 degrees to that center point of rotation. So you can do this with your protractor either. So here's an angle of 90 degrees marked in. Now, you'd put your compass on the center point of rotation. Okay, I bring the nib to C3 and I swing C3 onto that green line. Okay, and this should be C4. As with them all, C3 to P4 should be 60 millimeters, which it is. Now, I want to get one more, alright, just so I know how the square is going to line out. So I'll join A3 to the center point of rotation. So I'm going to draw that in. Now I'm going to mark an angle of 90 degrees to that line CP to A3. So it's going, A4 is going to be along this line here. So I'm going to put my compass on the center point of rotation. I'm going to swing it down, and A3 should be over, or A4 should be over here, but as with them all, it needs to be 60 millimeters. Okay, and it just about is. If it wasn't, set your compass to 60, swing from C4, and where it intersects the green line is the true answer. Now, so I can draw in my square, because B3 is or B4 is going to be up here. So I'm going to join the line there, C4 to P4. Draw that up there. Draw this up here. Okay, now there's a bit of cheat going on. There we go. Okay, you can find, we're going to mark this up into the middle now, and I'm going to mark the points on it. So I'll pause the video and do that. So there we have the points ready to mark up. So we can go down from E4 to here, we can join to H4. Okay, so from H we can join to I4. So from I4 we can join to this point here, then we can join to J4, Okay, we know we can join F4 to G4. We can draw our line parallel to that from J4, and then we can join E4 to G4 in there, and that's the 2011 question done. Cheers, thank you, bye bye.